Turn the love up a little bit louder. Rep the king just a little bit prouder. Putting hope on the radio. See why I'm gonna let them know. It's the inspirational power hour.
You are listening to the Inspirational Power Hour podcast with your host, Chandra Wise. Welcome to this week's episode. So, guys, I am talking to songwriter, singer, recording artist PJ Morton. He's talking about his latest album, which is a gospel album, Gospel According to PJ, and we got the behind the scenes on that. It's going to be good. You don't want to miss it. As always, make sure to follow online on Instagram, follow at Chandra Wise, on Twitter at Chandra Wise, and on Facebook, make sure to like the Inspirational Power Hour fan page. All right, guys, let's get right into this episode.
It's the inspirational power hour.
Listen, today, if you know me, you already know that I'm over here too excited to sit still. Guys, because I am talking to, I always say this, he's one of the most gifted creatives in the world, and he is here talking about his brand new album, The Gospel According to PJ. I'm talking about none other than PJ Morton. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Listen, PJ, you got to know how excited I am, right?
Listen, you always show love, so I'm not surprised that you're with me and excited today, because you always show me love.
Absolutely. And so much to talk about and to unpack, regarding this project, Gospel According to PJ. This is your first gospel album.
That's right. Yeah.
So let's just jump right into this. Tell us all about this and how you birthed the concept for this. We know that this is no surprise considering your roots, but how did you know it was time to present this gospel album?
Yeah, well, people have asked me to do a gospel album for many years, of course, based on my history, and I never quite felt led to do that. I felt like my purpose was different in the sense of bridging the gap and giving people love songs that they could feel proud about and they could listen to with their kids or listen to with their families. Just good songs that I think were underrepresented. But I've always had my hand in gospel music. I never really stopped, all the way from the beginning to songs like Let Go that I've written, to Gotta Have You with Jonathan McReynolds, or Over and Over with Trinity 5-7. It's always been there for me. And I just felt like now it was a full circle moment. Now that I've had some success in my initial purpose, R&B music, won a couple Grammys, and this pandemic really made me feel like people need the music of inspiration, the music of hope, and that's gospel music. They need that now more than ever. So I decided to put together a lot of the songs that I've worked on in the past and some new songs like All in His Plan, and really kind of tell my story through gospel music. And so I'm just so excited about it. I can't wait for people to hear it.
And so, PJ, listen, I was listening to it early today. Now, you made this statement. This really is like a full circle moment. And for me, it really feels like that, too.
Yeah.
Because, and I always have a backstory about everything.
I love it.
I remember the first time I met your dad. He was here in Jackson, and he was preaching at a church. David Curry from the Mississippi Mass, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his brother's church. He was here preaching my freshman year in college. How long ago it was. But met your dad. He preached this sermon, and I remember this sermon. He preached "What's in Your Hand," with what I was going through at that time, that was a pivotal moment for me in my life. And so even just thinking about, meeting your dad, him being that impactful, and then me being introduced to you and your creativity and watching your journey through the years. And when I was listening to the album, those conversations with your dad, where you guys grew up, him being in gospel music, all of those influences, it really created the perfect storm to create a PJ Morton, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And I never really looked at it that way. I had these songs, and then I had all these artists, but I said, man, I want people to I want it to be more than just an album. I want people to get to know me a little better. And I think the conversations between me and my dad really it really brought some clarity to who I am and how I've come to be the person I was in a lot of ways. And, that's why I love this album on a lot of levels. Of course, the music, of course, the artists that I have on it, but really the story that I'm trying to tell, which is almost like the prodigal son, you know, or something. It's just a story of a father and a son who had been there for each other regardless, and still here for this journey, you know. So it's super special to me.
You weren't no prodigal son, PJ. You were not there living it up too hard, I don't think.
No, I wasn't. That's what I'm saying. That's why I said kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
I never, I'm happy you said that, because what I'm really trying to normalize now is for people to understand that they can write a gospel album or release a gospel album and also release these love songs. I didn't have to become somebody different to do this album. You know, I didn't have to put on a different hat. I'm still the same person who can love people and also love God, you know. And I think that's what this is all about for me. It's really not the prodigal son. It's that we've been walking together this whole time.
Absolutely. And, I was thinking about it earlier today, and one of the things that you've been able to accomplish is that you brought a level of open-mindedness. I don't even know if that's the word, but a level of open-mindedness to the church community. And you gently forced a redefining of secular music to Christians. Do you realize that?
Well, not at the time. No, I just was doing what I felt was right. And but when I look over time, that's kind of what happened a little bit. It let people understand, okay, well, all of this music just can't be wrong. And if we're living life and experiencing life, there can't be something wrong with writing songs about those experiences.
Absolutely.
And I think I just made it a little clearer. I think people who came before me in this same fight were more frustrated and really couldn't, they didn't have the patience to try to explain in a way that made it clear. And I think that was a gift that was given to me, where I was able to make it a little clearer. And now we're in a different place altogether. I think a lot more open. I know I play my concerts at some churches sometimes because people have grown and understood that it's all God's music, and that God is love.
Absolutely. So, guys, the Gospel According to PJ, this is an incredible album. You have some amazing features on here, PJ. Tell us about it.
Thank you. Yes. That became the fun part for me, because in reimagining some of these songs that I'd done in the past and writing some new ones, I wanted to pick the perfect artist that I felt fit, or artists that really influenced me, like Commission and the Clark Sisters, that early stuff, and relationships like me and Yolanda Adams, who literally watched me grow up, Tasha Cobbs Leonard, who is, we've been knowing each other since freshman year in college. We were, I was the musician for the church, for the college choir. She was in the college choir.
Wow.
Of course, Darryl Walls and the Cardi Cortez, two of the best male vocalists in the world. Kirk Franklin's on the album. Who did I miss? Jay Moss, Kim Burrell,
the Clark
Smokey
Sisters.
Norfolk. Just a strong list of people who I've been fans of for years, and this kind of gave me an excuse to call everybody for my first gospel record. So yeah, that was the fun part for me.
So now you've been working on this a minute, and quite a bit of this was done during the quarantine, right? Yeah,
majority of it. Thankfully, we were right before we went into quarantine. I had sessions set up, sessions that we had to cancel. I remember Tasha and Travis. We had that session set up, and the Walls group at that time. We had some music recorded before, but majority was right here in the quarantine over Zoom and audio mover that we used for the studio. It was a challenge, but I think the blessing in all of it was that everybody was home.
Yeah.
Everybody was home, and I could get them in the studio. Having all of these artists with their schedules, traveling and all of that, I don't know that it could have happened, this quickly had we not been in the pandemic. So that was one of the bright sides of us being on lockdown.
And speaking of the pandemic, in the midst of COVID, in pure PJ fashion, you managed to find a creative space with your new digital game show, the Culture Trivia Show. Tell us about that.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
Well, the Culture Trivia, it came during the pandemic. I was really wanting a break from music, to be honest. That's where it came from initially. I wanted to do something else. I wanted to give people something else. I felt like there was an overload of music of some sorts right when we went into the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to try something else, give an escape, a release. And, man, it just started to blow up. And we've had so many amazing guests. We have the finale coming with Jill Scott and Tika Sumter and Miguel. And we've had so many amazing guests on there before, and who knew that I would come out of the pandemic with a game show? But
right.
I'm happy. It's so much fun, and I want to keep it going.
Absolutely.
So we'll see.
All right, guys. Again, I'm talking to PJ Morton. We're talking about his latest album, gospel according to PJ, and it's going to be available when, PJ?
August 28th. It will be available. I just announced we're doing a listening party on Instagram on Thursday night, the 27th, at 8 p.m. Eastern. We're going to listen to the record. I'm going to talk to some of the guests from the album, and we're just going to hang out. It's just going to be a good time, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody in there with me.
Now, being the fact that this is your first gospel album, I'm always intrigued by this, the way, producers approach what they're doing. Did you have to approach this differently than you've done your other music in the past?
Like in what way you mean?
In the way of production and different things like that.
Well, the type of producer I am is, it's whatever the song needs.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a producer is supposed to be a very unselfish place. If I'm writing a song and producing a song for some other artist, I try to put myself in their shoes. And that's kind of what I did with this. Each artist that I picked for the song, I tried to create a soundscape that would fit them, Of course, fit me, but fit them more than me.
Right.
And that's how I approach any record, to be honest with you. So it wasn't very different this time around. I was the same producer that I usually am, just in a different way.
All right, listen, guys, before we go, we're going to take a listen to, I think maybe your latest single, So In Love. Is that what you want to hear, PJ?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So In Love featuring Daryl Walls and Zacardi Cortez.
All right, before we do that, PJ, I want to, this is the last question I have for you. Now, you're always so gracious about the fact that, your name and your dad's name will forever be it will forever occupy the same space and sometimes the same conversations. I want to play something for you real quick. I interviewed your dad a couple times, and when the both of you guys were nominated for a Grammy the same year, and that was a history-making year. And he just talked about how incredibly proud he was as a father, even with you blazing your own path and your own trail, and how proud he was to occupy that same space. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I remember that year. It hadn't been done in 15 years since Bob Dylan and Jacob Dylan. And so we were proud. We were happy that we both lost. But we had a good time together just being in that space. And, I feel like my father it makes me so proud, and also is single-handedly, put me in position to be successful. I mean, he really did all he could and paid attention as much as he could. He saw some things before I did as far as me being a singer. I didn't want to sing before. He kind of forced me to sing a little bit. I was writing and playing keys. But he was like, "You got a voice, son." It encouraged me more than pushed me. And I'm just so grateful. Bought me my first keyboards. He always put me in the position to be successful at whatever I wanted to do. So I'm just so grateful for my dad. And he's still my number one supporter. Absolutely. So thanks so much, PJ, for stopping by and hanging out as always. Of course. Thank you for having me as usual. All right, guys, it's time for us to get ready and to get out of here for this week. Thank you so much for allowing me to spend a part of your day with you. I hope you've been blessed. I hope you guys have been uplifted and encouraged. I want to say a very special thank you to Keelante Gavin. Make sure that you check out his latest single, Hold Me Close. It's going to be available everywhere August 28th. The full-length album is coming soon, also August 28th. Make sure you check out PJ Morton's gospel album.
It's the inspirational power.